Hello my friends and welcome to Rampage Ups and Downs, and you're obviously looking at me going, Simon, why do you think you're King Astronaut? Well, it's because my mum rang me up and said that I was. Also, you're gonna have to watch SmackDown Ups and Downs. That's right, I'm connecting the shows again. But thank you very much for joining me as we are about to go through AEW Rampage, and I tell you, this had some crazy stuff on it. So subscribe, I didn't tie in. Let's up those downs. So yeah, look, at the start of Rampage, out came Mike Tyson to do commentary with Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and Excalibur. And then poor Jim Ross shouted out, "Oh, welcome to Dynamite." Goodbye, that guy's mentioned. I couldn't get over this because it also meant that Tyson was on the same show as Shabbat, so I kind of just stared off into the abyss. This is one of the most surreal things for ages. And speaking of which, yes, our first match was indeed New Japan legend Shabbat taking on Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship. I tell you, my friends, 2022 wrestling is wild. Now, I will admit I was terrified watching this, because if you know the extent of Shabbat's injuries, they are truly scary. And fair play to Mike Tyson as well, because when he was talking about all of this, he certainly sounded clued up. And not like somebody whispered in his ear, "Here's a bunch of facts." 99% sure he just watches a lot of wrestling. This was not some exhibition either, as the piece of fruit took Shabbat, threw him to the outside and hit him with a dive, and it pissed him off so much Shabbat grabbed Orange and just threw him into barricade over and over again, to the point I was like, man, that dude definitely doesn't like vitamin C. All of this did feel very much like New Japan had gone, yeah, no mate, whereas AEW had opened that forbidden door. And what does this mean going forward? Like, Shabbat also said he wanted to fight Bryan Danielson, and that would be twice as violent as this match. I don't understand what's going on. They teased the count out because they were hitting each other so hard, and can you imagine that finish when once again the unthinkable happened? Because Orange Cassidy was down on the floor, so Shabbat walked up to him and started giving him the Orange Cassidy weak kicks. Cassidy then got up to his feet just so he could go back down and do the Shabbat pose. And genuinely, I never thought I'd see this in wrestling. That's what I said to myself, oh my gosh, we've arrived here. Who the flub knows what's going to happen next week? So I had to punch myself in the face to make sure I wasn't dreaming. And I think it pissed off Shabbat because he then went into crazy mode and he was hitting the punk kicks and he was hitting the lariats and he was hitting these stomps. And honestly, I don't think he was holding back at all. For a good while it was Shabbat working on top here as he kept going for the PK, and from nowhere Tyson just decided, oh no wait, Orange Cassidy is my guy, and he started to cheer him on. Shabbat was then no-selling Orange Cassidy because Orange went for his own punk kick, and once again Shabbat was like, well, two could play that game because then he was hitting the orange punch. And then we got all of these submissions which were as pretty as a picture, and when Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch, Shabbat basically went and laughed it off like he was M. Bison. He went back to the choke and then for another kick, but this is when Cassidy flew in from nowhere. He hit another orange punch, and I think this one was meant to be sold as the fact, oh my gosh, he caught him out of nowhere. He pinned Shabbat, he retained his All-Atlantic Championship, and everybody was friendly and they all shook hands afterwards, but honestly, you have got to go and see this, and fair play to AEW. One of the criticisms recently has been like, oh man, there's no reason to tune into Rampage. Well, this is a reason to tune in. It's absolutely great. Getting it up. Quick interview with Toni Storm next, who said that Jamie Hayter is an asshole now and therefore she will beat her at Full Gear. When we cut to Claudio Castagnoli, William Regal and Bryan Danielson, who all said, listen Chris Jericho, we hate what you're doing to Ring of Honor and we think you're scum. This then led to William Regal telling Jericho he had to choose his opponents. It's like the end of the Ghostbusters. But Jericho either has to beat Bryan Danielson or he has to beat Claudio, and he better do it tonight. Don't worry, he does. Before that though, we did get the tag team match that was arranged on Dynamite. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter taking on Sky Blue and Madison Rayne. Now, given the fact that Rampage is a 60-minute show, a lot of this match did happen in the commercial break, but even then, I think the whole point of it was the reason that Tony can't put it on was for the angle afterwards, because otherwise this was just a showcase for Jamie Hayter, because she was all like, oh yeah, I can hit people really hard, so I'm going to hit him really hard. This is what happened to Madison Rayne when she just got slammed with that lariat, so Jamie did get the 1-2-3 in order to give her some momentum leading into the pay-per-view. And then Britt Baker got the microphone and started to go, I tell you who sucks, Tony Storm. I tell you who's not invited to my birthday party, Tony Storm. The whole time in the corner, Jamie Hayter was just beating people up. She is great. Of course, because they had been insulting Storm, she did come down and she just kicked everybody's ass. And just when it looked like she was going to finish off Jamie Hayter, who came flying in with the AEW Women's Championship and smashed Tone right in the head, of course, it was Britt Baker, and then Jamie grabbed the title and she held it off like, haha, this will be mine. And here's what we should do here. Jamie Hayter should defeat Toni Storm. She should be ready to get the 1-2-3 when Britt Baker screws over her best friends because she just can't take the fact that she would be champion and not her. And then we can go into that feud. It is long overdue, and this kind of just speaks to me and talks to me in my eyes. And that doesn't make any sense. Look, all this is fine. Did the job. Tony Schiavone was then with Chris Jericho, and he was a bit like, listen, I'm intrigued, Christopher. Can you tell me who you're going to pick? Jericho was like, well, if I was a lesser man, I would pick neither of them, but I'm not. I'm the Ocho. I'm a hero. So I picked Claudio, and I picked Danielson too. He then just became a matchmaker because he threw Sammy Guevara in there as well, and his whole point was that he thinks the Blackpool Combat Club is about to implode, so Claudio and Bryan will take each other out, and then Guevara better do the right thing, which I assume is laying down on the mat and letting the Wizard pin him. Sammy was a bit like, yeah, I will do that. Or maybe I won't. I do like this story a lot, though, because it's just so simple. And so far, it has just resulted in good match after good match after good match. And then Ricky Starks was back on AEW. Ooh-da-lally. And there were some rumours the reason he has been away is to sort out some personal stuff, so I truly hope he is okay. But I still stand by the fact that I would like to see him on All Elite Wrestling television more. He should be a guy that when he's not on our screen, everyone else is walking around going, well, where the hell is Rick? The whole point of this, though, is that he has returned and he is entering the World Title Eliminator Tournament. So straight away, I was just spinning around because I was like, wait a minute. I thought Ethan Page was going to win that thing. But now maybe, just maybe, it's going to be Ricky Starks. Fans popped big when he announced that too, and he's just such a good baby face at the moment. And at one point, he even basically said, man, since I've been gone, this place has been crumbling down. Look, he was only joking. It's kind of true. Still, I think we should make 2023 the year of Ricky. It doesn't really work. Give it up. Things then got weird because we cut back to Sammy Guevara, and I was like, why are we doing another interview with this guy? And he was all like, look, we'll get to this four-way at the pay-per-view, but before that on Dynamite, I want a 2 out of 3 Falls match with Bryan Danielson. What? So something is definitely brewing here, and it kind of feels like Sammy Guevara is going to leave the Jericho Appreciation Society, even though it kind of feels like he only just joined, which isn't true. And yes, this was the time of the evening when Excalibur has to tell you every single thing that is going to happen over the next week. And if he doesn't win an award for this one day, something has gone terribly wrong. Which did bring us to our main event, which was Samoa Joe and Wardlow, or War Joe, taking on the Gates of Agony. And look, AEW has invested a lot of time into this, and I appreciate a good story. I also hope it leads to a proper ROH show in 2023. Early on, Leona decided, I know how I can get the better of Samoa Joe. I'm going to bite him. I don't think that could be a good idea, although it did upset Joe so much. This is when Khan dove off the apron and took him out with a clothesline. So I was like, well, there it is. Samoa Joe, who's been around for, 15 years? If you really want to get the better of him, bite him. It all built to a big tag for Wardlow, and it does feel like he's getting his momentum again, which is very exciting. And after he had done every single German suplex known to man, he did a spine buster. And why did he do a spine buster? Because he was sending a message to that damn Will Hobbs. I think Samoa Joe felt left out at this point, so he just started choking people. And the good guys made sure to take out Prince Nana because he just kept making a nuisance of himself. And honestly, we massively drew a line under this feud because Wardlow hit the Powerbomb Symphony onto Khan, and then he pinned him by taking his foot and just stepping on his chest. I was like, surely that guy is going to kick out. Nope. He murdered him. The best part was Leona wasn't able to get involved because once again Samoa Joe had caught him on the outside and was just choking him. And when you look at it out of context, it basically comes across as attempted murder. Rampage ended exactly how it should have done too, because powerhouse Will Hobbs walked out and was basically like, give me that TNT title. And Wardlow got so mad about this, He pushed Samoa Joe out the way so he could yell at Hobbs. Honestly, the camera made sure to capture this. Joe wasn't happy. He's never happy, but he doubly wasn't happy. So all of a sudden I got down to my knees because I'm a strange guy and I started saying, please, please, please give me this triple threat match. Samoa Joe versus Wardlow versus Will Hobbs for the TNT title would not only be a banger, but hell yeah, it would light a fire under that championship. So look at me. Rampage ended and I wanted to get to the next show. That's all you ever have to do, and I'm giving it enough. Which will make everyone go crazy and say, Simon, but it's still not must-see TV, and at no point did I say it was must-see TV, but when I sat down and I watched every single segment, I was like, you know what? That was a more than 60-minute show, which is why I'm giving it enough. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's AEW Rampage. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com where you can read yourself some articles. Come follow us on social media at WhatCulture WWE and Simon at 316. Listen, SmackDown Ups and Downs is already up, and maybe today somebody had to record it. I've just seen the time at 3:34 a.m. This weekend is going to be a nightmare, but just go and support it and make me feel better. My name is Simon What Culture. Thank you very much for watching me as always. That has definitely left a mark on my head because I've been wearing it for about 25 minutes and it made a noise. Time to go back to space, I guess. I want to go to space. I think it's scary. Goodbye.